Are you aware that most universities in Portugal requires you to authenticate and legalize your documents before applying to the schools? If you don't want to lose your admission or if you don't want to get rejected with your application, I made this video to show you the steps on how to properly legalize and authenticate your documents for study in Portugal. I've gotten some comments about some people getting a little bit confused on the right process. So if you are here to watch this, you are definitely at the right place, okay? So sit back and we would get right into the topic shortly. Do not forget to like and subscribe if you haven't done so in this video. All right, let's get right into the video and welcome back to the channel. So the very first step I'm going to be talking about would be for you to gather all your required documents. If you've not gotten your transcripts or your certificates from your school, it's the best time to start getting them now. I mean the original copy. So now the documents that I'm talking about are your original academic transcript. For example, for your WAEC or NECO or HND or OND or your bachelor's degree or your master's degree for PhD students. So these are all your academic certificates. So whichever one you are going for example, those that are going for a bachelor's, if you want to go for a bachelor's degree or a vocational training program, what you have to authenticate and legalize would be your WAEC or NECO and the transcripts. So when I say transcript is that document that shows the courses you did and the grades you had, right? The C5, the B1, the A1, that shows the grades and the courses you had and the values, okay? That's the transcript. So they want that and the certificate as well, the original certificates, okay? So for bachelor's degree or for vocational program students, you have to authenticate and legalize your WAEC or your NECO, okay? And I'm going to be telling you the process shortly. I'm just telling you the documents you have to get. Now, for master's degree students, if you're going for master's, what you want is just going to be your bachelor's degree certificate, the original one, and the transcripts as well, okay? And also HND and OND, you can use that as well, the original one and the transcript. And for those going for their PhD, you definitely need your transcript and your master's degree certificate. All should be the original documents. And remember that they must not be laminated, otherwise you are going to spend excessive money. And remember, whenever you go to the embassy, they charge you additionally. You might pay ×3 of the normal charge if you make any mistake. So make sure these documents are not laminated. If they are laminated, unlaminate them, take off the lamination before you go through this process, okay? Now, what are the other documents that you might need to authenticate and legalize for your visa processing? The very first document I mentioned were your academic documents, which is for your study application to the school. Now, the following documents I'll be mentioning are your other documents for your visa processing, which would be your birth certificate, your police character certificate, and then marriage certificate is also necessary if it depends, okay, on the requirements at that time. So these are other documents you would need. Now, after you've gotten all these documents, also check on the school website for other documents they require based on what you're applying for, okay? Now, once you've put all these documents together, you've gotten all the original copy together, and now, what are the steps? Now, the steps that you have to do, that you have to go through would be, the very first thing would be to take these documents, all the academic documents that I mentioned earlier, the WAEC or NECO, the bachelor's degree and transcripts, the WAEC and transcript, original copies, the master's degree and transcript, everything, the diplomas, right, the certificates, those documents. So it's going to be either one of the above, okay? So remember, I already explained it earlier before coming to the next step. Now, the first step would be to take them to the Ministry of Education in your country for verification and stamping. So the Ministry of Education does what they would authenticate. So they verify that these documents are authentic, which now gives you an edge to move to the next step. So the very first step for your academic documents would be take them to the Ministry of Education in your country for verification and stamping. Okay, so once you've done that and they verified and stamped it at the Ministry of Education, now the next step, in fact, for those of you in Nigeria, I'm going to be using Nigeria as an example. These offices are very close to each other in terms of authentication and legalization. Okay, once you are done with, and for Nigeria, the Ministry of Education and Ministry of Foreign Affairs is there at Abuja. Okay, it's located at Abuja. So, and they are very close to each other there at Abuja. It's not far from each other, so you can just move from this other office to the other office. But remember, you have to book an appointment for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So after you finish verification and stamping of your documents at the Ministry of Education, now the next thing to do is take these documents that you have verified at the Ministry of Education to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for further authentication. Now this one is Foreign Affairs. This one now gives you the second edge that now enables you and qualifies it to be legalized at the Portuguese embassy. The second step, like I said, after verification and stamping at the Ministry of Education, you take it to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for further authentication, and then this part at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, your other documents will now come in. So that birth certificate and police character. But remember, police character, yeah, you can do the police character for now because of course you would need to legalize it later or immediately, depending on your process. Okay, usually police character expires in 3 months, depends on how fast you get your legalization appointment. But for your other non-educational documents, it has to be authenticated. Like I said, before you legalize any documents at the Portuguese embassy, it has to go through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs first. So they would authenticate it there and add their own stamp. Then you now take it to the Portuguese embassy for legalization. Now, the documents you have to take at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs are those documents you have already authenticated at the Ministry of Education, which are your educational documents, your academic documents, following with the non-educational documents that I mentioned earlier, maybe your medical certificate or your police character or your marriage certificate or your birth certificate. Those ones, they should also be authenticated at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs together with the academic documents. Then you can now proceed to legalize. You have to book an appointment, obviously, for legalization at the Portuguese embassy or the consulate in your home country. So you take these documents that have been authenticated to the Portuguese embassy, and they will now finally verify and legalize the documents, which now makes these documents valid to be used in Portugal and also for your school application. Okay, so remember that there are fees to this process. And I don't know how much it costs presently, but you have to always check with the embassy. Okay, check with the embassy at the time you are making the legalization. So remember, you have to book an appointment at either the VFS Global or at the Portuguese embassy at Abuja. And another thing is, for those that don't have the opportunity to go to the state or the city where you have the Portuguese embassy in your country. For example, if you are not located at Abuja or you live probably in another city, you can authorize somebody, maybe a friend of yours, or if you have somebody who lives there in Abuja that can help you do it, you can write a letter of authorization. You can check for letter of authorization process formats online. Okay, I would have shown you all here, but I don't have that right now. But I am probably going to check to see if I have mine and send it to you. Or if you want, you can send me a DM on Instagram. I can show you the steps on how to go through the letter of authorization. So letter of authorization is what authorizes somebody to act on your behalf, to submit the documents on your behalf, sign on your behalf, and collect the documents on your behalf. Okay, that's what the letter of authorization will entail. And that letter of authorization will be addressed to the consulate at the Portuguese embassy in Abuja or wherever you are applying from. Okay, and if your documents, for those that are not in an English speaking country, if your documents are not in English or Portuguese, you have to, or you might need to translate them. Okay, and the translated copies also must be legalized by the Portuguese embassy. These are just for those that are not in an English speaking country. So once you've gone through all this process, yes, you can now proceed to apply to your university or to the school, except for those schools that says, okay, you don't need to legalize your documents before applying. But most schools, about 80% of the schools, ask for this. So make sure you check with the school and confirm the requirements. Okay, the most recent school I uploaded that has admission going on, they require legalization of documents before you apply. So please always make sure you check with your school to know what their requirements are, so you don't waste your time and your efforts going through the process. Okay, and yeah, so this applies to both if you're coming as a single or a married person or a dependent. The necessary documents has to go through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Okay, so make sure you just take every document that is necessary to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, authenticate them to enable you to legalize them at the Portuguese embassy. So yeah, that's basically everything I'm going to be talking about this process. I hope this is clear enough. If you need further questions or guidance, remember I'm not an immigration officer. Please make more research on the Portuguese embassy website in your home country and find out also from the school website according to the requirements. Okay, and if you need me to make any other video, I am here on the comment section. I'm gonna respond to your questions as much as I can. Okay, and if you want me to make any video specifically on any other thing, you can write that on the comments as well. So if you found this video helpful, I would like you to please do not forget to share, subscribe, and also like the video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.